Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Pike Road's meeting and the second meeting of the month of March. We're glad to have each of you here. Thank you for being here, helping us conduct the business of our town. Council, good to see all of you guys. This morning we start with our public hearings. Our first, we have a number of public hearings this morning. By virtue of state law, a lot of things require procedural engagement that we go through. So just to let you know, we'll cover those first, and then we'll start the call to order, go through the business, and then those items will come up on the agenda. The first item for the public hearing is we are happy to be closing out our playground grant, which allows us then to move forward into additional grants. Carp Deck is here, and just want to, any comments you want to make for us this morning before we, as a part of the public hearing?
Just to say
Come to the podium.
Just to say that the grant accomplished what we set out to do. We installed an inclusive playground at the Children's Depot. It is benefiting all children town-wide and is inclusive so that children of all abilities are able to use the playground, and that's a wonderful thing for the town, and we are excited to have it closed out, and we're anticipating a March 30th closeout date officially. So
perfect. Great. And in your packet, Council, there's a CDBG grant program summary that once we close this, we're eligible for others. So that's good news, right?
Right.
And thank you to Carp Deck for their leadership. I've had the opportunity to serve on that board for a number of years as your representative, and actually chair that board for the last few, and thank you for your hard work.
Thank you so much.
Council, any questions on that? You've heard this before. It's just the final step in closing the grant. Okay, next item for the public hearing is our as a conditional use Sellers Road for the manufacturing home. Mr. Rigsby, our planning director, our senior planner, will talk to us about
Yes, sir. This is a manufactured home at 415 Sellers Road. This is, the applicant is William Misseldine. Sellers Road, if you don't know, is a private road off of Woodley Road on the west side, just south of Trotman Road. And it's approximately a 24-acre parcel. Like I said, it's a private road there, gravel road. And this is a mobile home or manufactured home is consistent with others in the neighborhood. On that road, there's a number of them, different building styles, including manufactured homes, and this was recommended at the Planning Commission at their March meeting. And Mr. Misseldine is here.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Misseldine, any comments, anything you want to say, or just, you don't have to, but if you want to?
I can answer any questions, please.
Very good. That's great. Council, any input or questions you'd like to address? Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Any public comment on this item? See none, we'll move on to the next item. Thank you very much. Planner Rigsby again, conditional use 9971 Troy Highway manufactured home.
Yes, sir. This is 9971 Troy Highway. Again, this is a manufactured home conditional use request. This is Juan Perez is the applicant. This location is approximately 2 miles north of the US 82 intersection and about 2.5 or so south of Trotman and Meriwether area. On the east side of 231. Right behind, there's a cabinet shop or some sort of woodworking shop in front of this property. This is surrounded by agriculture farms and vacant property. And again, this is recommended at the Planning Commission at their March meeting.
And it is also consistent with what's already there.
Consistent with what's there, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions, Mr. Rigsby? Is the applicant with us this morning? Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. Questions, he's available if you have any questions. Council, any public input? All right, great. Seeing none. Council, any questions? No, not? Okay, very good. All right, that covers those three. Then the final part of our public hearing is a rezoning request for the, I think it's the Phase 5 of the last section of Boykin Lakes, which is also gone through the Planning Commission, so it's before us at this point. Senior Planner.
Yes, sir. This is a rezoning request from agricultural AG to R10 residential. The applicant here is BSI. Blake Rice is their representative. He is here if you have any questions. Again, this is a rezoning of 122 acres from AG to R10. The location here is immediately south of the existing Boykin Lakes, the 3 and 4 plats, and east of Vaughn Crossing neighborhood, west a little bit, a good bit west of Marler Road, and about 1,000 to 1,500 feet north of Vaughn Road is the subject property, and that's outlined in your packet. Again, this is proposed to be phase 5 of the Boykin Lakes neighborhood. The applicant has said that they intend to be consistent with when they develop, if they develop, consistent with the current Boykin Lakes design and development style. This was recommended by Planning Commission at their March meeting earlier this month. This is also consistent with the comprehensive plan that was recently adopted a couple months ago. The land use plan there, policy of suburban residential medium. And you also, in addition to that, this is a rezoning, but for visual aid to see the concept, there is a preliminary concept plan in the back of your packet. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Rice is here as well.
Okay, thank you. Let's let Mr. Rice go, and then we'll ask questions of these, and then we'll open it up for public comment.
Good morning, Blake Rice, BSI. Thank you for having me today. What Daryl said is essentially spot on. This is a piece of property that is due south of the existing Boykin Lake subdivision. It's always been contemplated as being the 5th and final phase of Boykin Lakes. I know the layout is not part of the rezoning, but we did think it was important to include the layout as part of the submittal. So there has been a layout submitted, looked at, should be in the packet, looked at by Planning Commission. It consists of approximately 230 additional lots, identical to the lots that are in Boykin Lakes today. The plan is to continue with the same homes, same buildings, same amenities. Working with staff, we have seen the need to stub out a street out of Boykin Lakes to the south, so that when the property south of this request develops, that road can be extended on to Vaughn Road to give further connectivity throughout the area. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions from the commission, from the council or the citizenry that's here. That's about it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, council, any questions of Mr. Rice or Mr. Rigsby, and then we'll open it up public hearing and go forward.
Yeah, I do have some questions. I'm going to table mine for when it's on the agenda in lieu of time, because I know we have some special guests that need to be on.
All right.
But I'd certainly have a bunch of questions. I'm sure that doesn't.
Okay, sure. Thank you for that. All right. Okay. All right. We'll go to the public hearing portion then. First person to sign up is Reverend Blunt. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you all for having me. John Blunt. I am the pastor at Woodland, and happy to be in here for the second time. Last time was to be part of the swearing-in ceremony for some of you, so that was a pleasure. I am also I guess probably the largest neighbor butting up to this with a house on it. I submitted to all of you. You should all have some proposals that I'm making. I believe that Mr. Rice has also received this prior to this meeting. I really wanted him to have an opportunity to see kind of what we are hoping as a neighborhood. I also represent Vaughn Crossing. I'm a HOA member, and this proposal has been submitted to our HOA, and we voted on it, and so we all agree that this would be a reasonable proposal. We are hoping that some appropriate buffer between the neighborhoods could be established. You know, most of our lots are 3 to 5 acres, kind of similar to the Oak Ridge community north of us, and we just hope that that the fence that they put in, it was an 8-foot fence. They didn't actually go all the way to the end, so if you look on here at the very north side where it says Lot 60B and Lot 59A, they actually stopped that fence before, so there's actually a house there, or 2 houses there, but the fence stops. And so my hope is that we could at least continue that fence all the way through. I also have a proposal in here to include a 10-foot buffer. Part of that is I've got a lot of trees already established there. Even since I've been there for a little over a year, and even since I've been there, I've been planting trees. But the established trees, I'm really worried that if we block the sun from them, that they'll end up dying. And as y'all know, anybody doing landscaping, it's quite expensive. So, but just to have a buffer there. We also would like, talking with other members of the Vaughn Crossing neighborhood, as you come down the main road into Vaughn Crossing, you would actually be able to see, all of these houses on the southern border as well. And so we would also like to ask for an 8-foot fence to go across the southern border as well, just to block the view a little bit so we're not staring in people's backyards. I think all of you have been in Vaughn Crossing. It's a beautiful neighborhood. We take great care of it. And, we don't want to stop development, but we also want to be good neighbors and respectful of each other. So that's kind of where we are on that. We also have had some questions raised from the neighborhood about our drainage. We just want to make sure that if this goes into effect, that the drainage won't back up into our neighborhood. So proper studies of that would need to be considered. Also, water pressure. Do we have enough, enough towers to keep the water pressure that we currently have? Additionally, I think it'd be appropriate, since our lots are so big in Vaughn Crossing, to limit the size or expand the size of these lots. So instead of R10, we're proposing R30 along that eastern border of Vaughn Crossing, so that at least those lots would be a little bit bigger and provide a little bit more buffer even there. So perhaps they could be sold or marketed as estate lots for Boykin Lakes. But our intent is to not stop this, but to work with them, and hopefully that could happen. I would like, before a vote on rezoning the whole property to R10, I would like this to be addressed. So, if we can't have some sort of agreement before R10 is applied to the whole area, I would ask of you to not approve it at this time, so that we can continue to work alongside of them, alongside of our neighbors, and come up with something that might work better. So that's kind of where we are, and love to. Any questions for me?
Well, the good news on your last request is it won't be voted on today anyway.
Okay.
Today's just for the public hearing, so we do this and then we pause to the next meeting for the formal vote. So.
Okay. And like I said, I wanted them to have this even before this meeting, so
sure,
that was.
Thank you very much for coming and doing all this work and
Yeah, thanks, John.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And they'll, certainly this will be discussed shortly, I'm
Thank
sure. Next, Dave Ledford.
Well, good morning. I appreciate all the work that John did. He did do that on behalf of the HOA, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to come in and speak to you guys. All of his points are absolutely valid. I'm pleased that Pike Road's growing. I'm glad to see the rooftops coming in, the commercial coming in. But I do want to be mindful of the reason that everyone's coming out here. The reason we moved out here 5 years ago was to come out and have that suburban feel, that more out in the country kind of feel. And as our schools are growing and we see the new buildings coming up and all these wonderful things we're accomplishing, I do want to make sure that we remain mindful of the folks that came out here for particular reasons. And so as the developments go up, we do want to continue to work with Pike Road, the city of Pike Road. There's other lands around us as well. But like the connectors and the increased traffic stubbing out to the south, well, that's our floodplain. So we want to be mindful. I would say probably 4 to 5 times a year, water completely covers my driveway and the road in front of my house. Now, it's only there for a few minutes, but that's with our current drainage situation. If we try to put roads through there, if we try to develop down into the floodplain, those sort of things, the impact's going to be fairly significant. And that's a safety thing, that's a property value thing, that's an insurance thing. So I just ask that the council, as always, be mindful of those things as well as we move forward. And we do look forward to cooperating with the developers. We've got a lot of friends over in Boykin Lakes, but we do want to make sure it's commensurate and we are being good neighbors and give them the same opportunity. So, but any questions for me or thoughts, concerns?
Thank you for coming by.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Michael? Yes, sir.
Michael Studheit. I'm also an owner in Vaughn Crossing, and fortunately for everybody, John and Dave spoke very well and covered all the points. I did hear one thing a second ago that I wanted to question just a little bit, or have us give pause to. If this is going to be the final extension of Boykin Lakes, expansion of Boykin Lakes, I'm not so sure that what the rationale would be for stubbing out streets to the south. Most of the subdivisions have a single entrance or a couple of entrances into the subdivision. They're self-contained, and so if there's future development for the properties that are south of Boykin that aren't Boykin, it would be, in my mind, a new neighborhood as opposed to trying to cross over that creek. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good observations. Thank you very much, sir. Caroline, anything? You signed up? Okay, gotcha. All right, very good. And then John Stanley? John, did you sign up just as being, okay, very good. Any other public comment? All right, seeing none, that covers all of our public comment portion of this morning's meeting. So we'll, we'll close the public hearings and call our meeting formally to order. We'd like to begin with a word of prayer. I'll ask Councilman Furman if he'll open us in prayer, please.
Certainly. Lord, thank you so much for today. God, thank you for the opportunity to come here and conduct the business of the town. Thank you for the leading us and guiding us. I pray that you continue to make our conversation fruitful and beneficial and glorifying to you. I pray thanking you for the community input. Thank you for a community that cares, God. Thank you for representatives that want to listen, and I pray thanking you for giving us the opportunity to come here today. Thank you for the beauty of what you've created and giving us what we need and providing for those needs. God, I pray that you continue to lead us and guide us in all we do. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Ask our assistant clerk who stepped in at the last minute because our clerk woke up this morning with not feeling well. So Sherry, thank you, but ask her to note that we have everyone here, so we have a full participation this morning, which means we have quorums, and thank you all for being here, council. So the next item on our agenda is our Consideration of the minutes, those are in your packets. They were also distributed, council, from the February 9th meeting. Thank you to Mr. Steindorf for making sure we got that accomplished since I was in D.C. that day. But any questions, comments, or actions on behalf of the council? Motion by Councilor Bratcher, second by Councilman Furman to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? See none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Thank you very much. They are approved. Now we have the opportunity, which we do periodically here, to do something that's very meaningful and significant. We pause sometimes in the middle of our business of the town to either recognize important people, important accomplishments, or important causes that people are working on. And as all of you know, there's not a family in our midst, any of our midst, that isn't touched by some type of illness, and in particular, cancer can be a really trying and difficult experience for a lot of families. And our council has been very generous about, we do have some discretionary dollars that are at the council's disposal, and been very generous about trying to support those things that are meaningful and helpful and supportive and make a difference in our community. This morning we are honored to make a presentation on behalf of the council to some of our friends, and I'm gonna let Councilor Bratcher, who's very close to this and has worked as a part of this group, to just make a few comments here, and then we'll have a more formal presentation on behalf of the council.
This is exciting to share. First, I just want to thank council for supporting my request in this endeavor. I want to welcome Carol Gunner, who's the executive director of the Cancer Wellness Foundation of Central Alabama here. She chairs that committee or that organization, and they actually serve, I don't know if you guys all know that they actually serve everybody right here in the river region. They do a lot of boots on the ground, so when you see fundraisers from the Cancer Wellness Foundation, I'm not sure people really understand that's really dollars that are spent locally to help people with transportation, nutrition, medications, whatever their needs are. That's not the research and development of medications. That's a different category. And so anything that they do, which is very meaningful and impactful, it stays right here. I had the privilege a couple years ago of participating in a campaign called Women in Blue. That's where they spend the month of March just specifically not only raising money and awareness or money for colon cancer, they want to bring awareness for early detection and early screening. And so that campaign looks a little something like they get women that are locally in the community, they put on their blue clothes for the month, and they go out in the community and they raise money with an effort to try to be impactful in that month with a certain amount of money. So over the year, under Carol's leadership, that campaign has grown. It was a privilege for me to be in it and wear blue for a month. And so as I participated recently in a dinner, it just dawned on me that, man, we have an opportunity at Pike Road to support this. There were other dignitaries from other communities there that had done that. So that's where this request came from. Now, their campaign consists of many, many women. So what we did today is we've asked people that are that live in Pike Road that are in the campaign or affiliated in Pike Road to come and be with us today. So that's kind of what we're doing. So we have a presentation, a donation for you guys. I do want to say this real quick. If anybody knows Carol Gunner, she's an amazing person, and she's actually, in fact, her husband is going through a storm of cancer right now. And it's been very, very tough for them, but she has showed up every time I see her on social media, and he's a sick guy, and I just want you to know we're praying for him, and it's just ironic that all this has come together and that you're showing here today. So not only are we doing this today in honor of the organization, we're doing this in honor of Bill. So that's Carol. So I'd like to invite our folks that we've invited. Dr. Petty is here today. Grace Armagast.
Council Lady, before we do that, I don't do this. I don't know if I've ever done this in 20-something years, but I'm going to do it. I'd like to ask those of you who would like to participate to join us in a word of prayer. Dear Lord, our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to live in the time we live. And we thank you for the privilege that we have to be associated with the gifts you've given us, the gift of medicine, the gift of resources, the gift of the spirit of help and helping each other. Father, we pray for those out there in our midst suffering from various difficult times due to illness, particularly illnesses such as cancer. Lord, we pray for those families. We pray for those individuals. And we pray for those people out there, Lord, who are diligently working in laboratories and in the fields of medicine to do all they can to find cures. We thank you for these ladies, and I thank you for this council and this community that has a heart for caring for each other. In Christ's name, amen. Now, please go ahead.
So at this time, we'll just come up, get a quick picture. I know somebody's got to get going, but we've got Dr. Petty here with us today. Grace Ann Armagost, I'm not sure if she made it. Okay, Ashley Stewart couldn't make it. Faith Bird, Christy Cronier, Jessica Trotman, and Maggie Lashley. So these are the ladies out on Pike Road advocating. So all of y'all go to their social medias. They'd love to have personal donations as well. So advocate. So y'all come on up.
Y'all come up, council, if you'll come around, we'll do a picture. All right. I know you ladies have to go, so y'all feel free to. All right, so now we are fortunate to get some good news. Anytime you have your auditor here, you're always excited to hear their report when it's a good one. And it is, again. So thank you for being here, Chris Newenswander and team from Jackson Thornton. Please come forward. This will be in lieu of our normal financial report monthly. We're going to do the audit report this morning.
Okay. Thanks for having me. I'm Chris Newenswander. I'm the audit partner responsible for signing the audit opinion of the September 30th, 2025 financial statements. Katie Vega-Schmidt's with me. She supervises the engagement. She's got some words to say here at the end. Y'all should be worried. I'm following up a pretty heavy topic, but you should be worried when the city attorney and the accountants are talking and hanging out beforehand, so you should separate us next time. Okay.
We trust y'all.
You trust me. Okay, here we go. So we finished the audit in the middle of March, and the audit's finalized. The audit opinion is a clean audit. Now, I want to clarify one thing. It's the primary or basic city functions. It's all the funds of the city. So you could go through the general fund, the education fund, the special projects fund. All those funds is the corporate primary activities of the city or the town. You also have business type activities, the shopping center. It makes money, and it's part of the town. Last year it was determined that the Board of Education was technically in the accounting world part of the town umbrella. Their audit is never done by the time we're done. We're done right now because you have to file this statement basically with the public, because there are bonds attached to the city that the town owes. So we are finished and we have done our job, and it is a clean opinion, in my opinion. So with that being said, that's the news. If you walked out of here and said our auditor showed up and the books are free of material misstatement, you can take these, you can read them to your heart's content and ask all kind of questions and discern information. I'm just going to share some highlights. Like if I walked out of here and somebody says, well, how is the town? Well, the town's good. And I like cash. People around me, they like cash, and the town has it, okay? Now, no, you can't go out and spend it tomorrow because you have bills to pay, but if I look at it, there's about $30 million in total. You spend about 20 in budgeted. So that's a year and a half of reserve. And I would think that your annual or your monthly report would give a similar report. I think I've heard her say that before. So when you think about, are we going to make it? Yeah, y'all going to make it. It's going to be okay. I want to share a couple significant transactions that happened in the year to revive your memory if you're looking at this and say, ooh, that looks different. You know, the 2024 GO warrants were levied and issued in this year. So we took in $41 million. It's unique in the fact that we kept about half of it. Well, more than half of it we gave to the school. Okay, so we got some money to do some things we need to do, and the school has the money that they need to do what they need to do. In accordance with what the board got, they also have a promise to give us back most of it. So it triggers receivables, it triggers cash, it triggers bond debt, a lot of unique things, and to sit down and discern it, it can be a little tricky, but what I can tell you is that transaction kind of runs all over the statements, and so and it's fairly presented. So the deal is about neutral, from what I can tell, and it really does help everybody out. You still have enough money, enough legal debt margin to borrow. So if we got into that deep, you'd see, and what I did an analysis on both the full accrual and the fund level accounting, you would have had a positive net income for the year had that transaction be pulled out. And it's an anomaly. So if you get into the fund level statements and say, well, looks like we lost money, looks like the entity as a whole lost money, it's because we gave away so much, and it just worked out that way through the accounting records. So nothing to be concerned about how the 12 months went, okay? Other transactions that I thought that were interesting, we had some donated land on Wallahatchie. We did some economic development. There's some parcels that are available at the end of the year. We sold one to try to drive that. The other thing is an interesting year for a lot of my clients, and this is where Katie's going to speak here in a minute. The ARPA funds were finally released and spent in accordance with the federal guidelines. So over $2 million were released, and she's going to speak to that here in a minute. So that happened with a lot of my clients. They've got to get it done and quick because the timeline is ticking. Pike Road Station still exists, and they make money, they cash flow, it's not an issue. Page 43 of the statement is your budget, okay? There's a lot of, I know people do a lot of hand wringing when it's time to talk about the budget. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but that's something you may want to revisit. Just my very basic comments on it. You beat your revenue goal by a lot, okay? Your expense budget, you were short on it by about 600, but when you look at that and you think, well, what happened there? Well, repairs and maintenance just come out of nowhere, right? And so those things can sneak up on you, and that was the majority of that. So the budget is for your review at your time to see how that sorted out. The last page of this statement, I always say that we save the best for last because the budget's at the end. There's also a schedule that we presented years ago, tracking, I think it goes, oh goodness, it's the last page so I can tell quickly. Since 2014, the history of the education fund. So this is where I just wanted to make the comment. When you look at the priorities of the town, it has been education, and it shows on that schedule, the commitment and the resources provided. Certainly the town has services across the board for all of us that live here. But that has been the focus from a monetary standpoint. Yes, we do a good job of taking in our real estate taxes. And if you walk out of here and wonder where our main unrestricted dollars come from, there it is, sales tax and then business license. It's a very typical arrangement that most towns, except for ad valorem, is the number one here. All right, one more thing from me, and then I'll let Katie speak to the ARPA funds. The report to the board. So I've failed to grab it, so you do not have it in front of you. I'll have those delivered later today. It's the conduct of the audit. How'd it go? It went well. There were a couple of accounting standards that we implemented or helped you implement this year that had no effect once it was analyzed. We didn't have a lot of cleanup adjustments. Lisa and her team, Dina, they are ready and prepared for us to make this delivery on the date we did, which I believe was the March 18th, if my eyes don't deceive me. So, no large issues. We recorded some of these large transactions I reminded you of similarly than we did in the prior year. So it's comparable. It flows from one year to the next. No findings from the financial statements that I want to bring to your attention. Now I'm going to let Katie speak to the single audit. And this is funny. So you got a 3 for this year, a 3 for, you go to Publix and get a BOGO. You got a 3 for this year. She's going to talk about the single audit. We did a financial statement audit, an audit in accordance with government auditing standards, and a program-specific audit. Katie's going to talk about the last two.
Katie, thank you for your work too, by the way.
You're welcome. So like Chris said, I'm talking about the single audit. I think the last time y'all had a single audit was the Merriweather Road Trail, so it's been quite a long time. This is required when y'all spend $1 million or more in federal funds. So in 2025, let's think a few years back, y'all got 2 tranches of ARPA money put into your bank account. Sat there for a few years until y'all decided what to do with it. That was decided last year. Y'all decided to use those funds for the tennis courts and the multi-purpose building. So that is what we tested during our single audit. And we tested compliance to make sure that those funds were spent in accordance with federal standards. So like Chris said, we also did an audit over government auditing standards, and we actually tested the inclusive playground grant and compliance over that as well. So when we tested both of those, we found no issues, no findings with internal controls or compliance. So good job to your team here. Like Chris said, Lisa does a wonderful job. Y'all are lucky to have her. Any questions on that?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, council, any questions for our wonderful team here?
I have a quick question. I'll be in touch. Just first, I just want to thank you. I was going to mention to you two when I was new, and it took me years, and Chris and I, year after year, had to sit down. I'm sure it was painful, but I wanted to tell y'all, like, if you really, he's a great resource if you want to sit down and understand. And year after year, it's been fun to watch the improvement after improvement. But you'd mentioned that you were going to deliver your opinion, but there were no findings. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
This is a clean audit opinion.
Okay.
There's no internal control matters.
Okay.
Certainly, we have suggestions that we just talk about with Lisa that are minor.
Okay.
But no, it all looked good.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
that's just plain English right there.
I need some help with just the breakdown of the school in terms of interpreting it better to the community. So I'll just be in touch with you about that schedule sheet, because the in, the out, the this, the that, the
That's right.
first bond 3, bond 4. I mean, it's very complicated,
That's
and
right.
so I need to figure out a way to be able to articulate that a little better. So
We can friend that.
Okay, doke.
Thank you.
Thanks for being available. And I want to just reiterate for the public and for our new council members, our more veteran council members know this, but one of the things we do at the town of Pike Road to really emphasize stewardship is we actually have multiple layers of checks and balances, but because we have a great internal team with our clerk and her team, Sherry and Tammy and the whole group. We have people who have lots of experience in dealing with this type of procedural work, and Lisa actually is an accountant, which helps us for sure. Most municipal clerks do not have that academic background. And then then we also bring in another or different accounting firm than our auditing firm to help us. And so Dana, working with Carr, Riggs and Ingram, does a great job as our bookkeeper. And then on top of that, then we do an audit. So we actually have a triple layer of checks. We also, different than most municipalities, we have never operated without a financial management plan. We had, well, I say that. We may have the first few years when we literally didn't, we were trying to get together everything. But we brought in the University of Alabama Center for Business and Economic Development, and they actually helped us write a financial plan. And so our procedures, when you hear the numbers, as it relates to reserves and funds and all that, that's really been our standard mode of operation. And Chris can speak to this if anybody else wants to ask him later, but we've done that forever. And so when you hear our reserve numbers and other municipalities compare what we have to others, a lot of, in my affiliation through the League of Municipalities and other places, a lot of people go, how did you get to that? Well, it's what we've done. It's been our standard operating procedure, and so that's how we've been able to develop the multi-level levels of bonds and other things that Council Lady was just referring to, and been able to do the things we've done. So kudos to a lot of people. There's a whole bunch of folks that deserve credit for how it operates here, and I just want to be I want to be thankful to all of them, and certainly the good work of Jackson Thornton is a part of that. So thank you both for your hard work and all that. Okay, Council, typically once the audit report is presented, there's opportunity for you to take action on that. Is there a preferred action on behalf of the Council?
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Councilman Steindorf, second by Councilman Robinson to approve the audit report as presented. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So ordered. Thank you very much. Great job, everybody. Now we'll move into old business. We have a couple of carryover items that we need or we have the opportunity to address. You heard last meeting about the franchise agreement with Spectrum. That's a 5% franchise agreement. It's very, very positive for us, and wanted to make sure, Council, that we gave you the opportunity to take action on that. It's in your packet. Like I said, you've heard the presentation. Motion by Councilman Furman, second by Councilman Watley. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So ordered. Thank you very much. And then we have a second reading on an annexation of 581 Parks Road. You've also heard that presentation previously. You know what that is and how that helps bring our properties together. Any further discussion on that item? Seeing none, is there a particular action on behalf of the Council?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Steindorf, second by Councilman Robinson to approve this ordinance as presented. Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. So ordered. Thank you very much. That concludes our old business, so now we'll move into new business. We have 3 items, as you heard earlier. Public hearing, we have the opportunity to have further discussion on. First is available for action this morning. That would be the conditional use request, because it's a resolution for the manufactured home on Sellers Road.
Motion to approve. I didn't know if that's what you were.
Yep,
I have something for comment, but I'll wait.
Motion approved by Councilor Pratchett, second by Councilor Robinson. That now is in front of us. Comments?
I just wanted to tell Mr. Missildine you have some friends in Pike Road. I got several calls advocating for you, and it just really made me smile that, it's always fun when you hear from a resident and say, my uncle's coming up, and this is the story, and do you have any questions? And so it made me smile, so I just wanted to say that to you. So you're welcome.
Okay, great. Any other comments? See none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So ordered. Congratulations, sir. The next item would be a conditional use for the manufactured home on Troy Highway. You've heard that presentation, council. Is there action?
Second.
Motion approved by Councilman Robinson, second by Councilman Furman. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So ordered. Thank you, and congratulations to you guys. All right, the third item was the item that we heard the most comment about this morning. That's the discussion point. Again, this is an ordinance, so it goes to the next meeting for an actual action step, but we do have the opportunity for discussion. Before we open that up, we typically give our planning team and the applicant a chance to make any other comments at this point that if there's something you forgot you wanted to say or whatever, please come forward.
I have no additional comments. Just again, it's 122 acres. Request is to rezone from agricultural to R10. An
I want to
extension
address
of the
the
Boykin
comment
Lakes.
that was asked about the stubbing out. I think that that was one of the public hearing requests.
Yes, sir. So I believe you said it earlier. Could have been yesterday, but planning staff is always recommending interconnectivity, and sometimes that takes the path of just providing a stub for opportunity to connect later. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a stub for additional residential, additional commercial, anything else. It could just be a through road that connects to it in the future. It's to be determined, but the opportunity to do that is our request for this development, if approved, moving forward, to have that stub to provide that opportunity.
So typically, to just respond to, so yesterday we had a person here who asked a question, and Daryl and I were there, about another neighborhood that has a stub like that, and the question was, basically, why is it there? And so we were referencing the fire department oftentimes would like to have a second entrance to a neighborhood in the event that there's some incident that occurs and it blocks the entry and they need to be in there. Ambulances, special circumstance-driven dynamics. Most of those stubs have never been opened up. I don't know that now this particular stub, as I recall from sitting through, and Chairman is here, he might want to say something, Mr. Furman, if I'm not right, but I recall from the Planning Commission, this could allow for access off of Marler Road into the neighborhood to alleviate some traffic issues on Marler, if I remember right.
Off of Vaughn, yes, sir.
Off Vaughn, I'm sorry. But take traffic off of Marler onto Vaughn if it were to eventually be put in place. Is that right?
That's correct. That was I think the intent of requesting that stub. And it is similar, as you've alluded to. For instance, across the street here, the Providence neighborhood has a stub on the north side, down, past, kind of right across from the second entrance to Town Hall. That's never been accessed. There's been some discussion at times about some commercial development in front of that might end up wanting to connect to that, but it's never come to pass. So it's not a guarantee that anything would ever be developed there, but instead of having roads that don't allow for any future connectivity, they're just would request that basically a little almost like a dead-end street kind of stop there at the south end of that, that would be could be used for that in the future should additional connectivity be required. But it certainly, as form holds with a lot of other neighborhoods, a lot of times is never used.
Right.
The key word is, Mayor's, one of his key words this year has been opportunity. And if the opportunity is closed, that limits the potential in the future if a bunch of houses are there. So.
Yeah, anyway, it's pretty standard procedure for us to ask them while they're building the roads to do that. Go ahead.
So the chairman and I are going to get together. He's graciously agreed to meet with me because I have lots of concerns. But my first question to you is from a rezoning perspective. Historically, we are rezoning in plats. Like, I guess I'm like, if this was the intention, why are we rezoning now if there's been residential? Like, when we go and we rezone for a plat, we're doing that by phases? Is that how why isn't this already R10? That's my question. If that was the original plan, and that's been the whole talk, because I can understand as adjacent landowner, you look at something and you purchase real estate and you say, oh, that's zoned agriculture. And then all of a sudden we have, when you have a neighborhood that's already existing and has been there for years and has been zoned R10, and then all of a sudden, this residential, what was agriculture, it's going to be R10 too, and then this is going to be R10. So at what point, or how can we in our process maybe just tighten up a little bit? So if I'm an investor and want to come invest in Pike Road and I want the rural community that they have, that's amazing, how do I have some sense of confidence of where the boundaries are going to stop around my neighborhood? Because when I went and bought my lot, probably, that was agriculture, and I get that we're going to have development and all that, but at the same time, a lot of these people bought their lots, we already had phase 1 of Boykin Lakes, right? And so I guess that's kind of where I'm trying to just understand the procedurals of how do we get and then I have a whole nother host of questions about services in Pike Road and dumping on the traffic and anybody that drives that way. And Doug and I have a wonderful relationship, and I'm excited about him helping me with that. So that's my second thing. And then my third thing is he's request that these citizens put a lot of resources into, it sounds like, in thought and process. Can we honor those? And are we going to?
So
I don't know who to ask. And that's why I have two. That's why we have a first reading and second reading, because we have time to digest.
Sure.
And I'm going to be completely honest, guys. Prior to today, I didn't put a lot of research. I have to take things in Pike Road, as we all do, in little increments, and I'm doing a whole lot of work right now in fire. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just want a little ease to understand as a citizen, if I want to invest in a style of living like these guys live in, and I come and do that, and then all of a sudden, I'm being told that a road's going to be stubbed in that may or may not connect. I get it.
Sure. Let me respond to one part of that, and then I'm going to also ask Mr. Rice, because the timing would be an issue of the owner, or the applicant. But on the how we know, we hope, at least our plan, our strategy is that the comp plan would designate some forward thinking. Now, it's not obviously required by law, but we hope the comp plan does give guidance for that.
But that comp plan has been fluid, and we didn't stick to it for many, many years. We just redid it, and we've got a lot of build of trust in that comp plan, right? Because we have not abided by the comp plan as it was written, and hopefully we will as it's written. So it's hard as a citizen, if you come in and you look at the comp plan, to have confidence in that in terms of zoning changes.
Well,
if I came out here and I bought an estate style lot and have horses and things like that, and then all of a sudden I've got, and it's agriculture when I buy it next to it for miles and miles, or not miles, acreages, and then slowly but surely, at what point can we define that we're not going to take up a zoning change to protect the integrity of their investment and quality of life? Do y'all see what I'm saying? If this was already the plan years and years ago, why are we addressing does that make sense? Why are we addressing the zoning now? Why wasn't it addressed then? So maybe he wouldn't have bought his lot, because he knew R10 was going to be his neighbor.
Right. I can't address that specifically. Yes. Mr. Rice will address that. But to address kind of the first question, every developer, every development is a little different in how they structure their project. So some might be more likely to be smaller plat by smaller plat, rezoning piece by piece. Others might come in as a whole thing. This is the master plan. This is 100%, no room to even expand. Kinsley or Woodland Creek maybe is an example. This is our box, and we're boxed in. So everyone's a little different in how those evolve.
Right, everything's different then, so circumstances change, and so I think we have to be considerate of that. We have to find a better way for this to be a win-win for developers. I feel bad for developers because they're making these huge investments, and they're in here having to beg us to develop their land, because we've got to do better, and that's going to help them, and it's going to help constituents. I get what you're saying, but as circumstances change for the developers, because they don't know if they're going to buy it maybe, just maybe they have first right of refusal or things like that. So I just want us to improve in that and really address that now that I'm kind of understanding as I sit down across the table from developers and then citizens like these guys. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, I just hope we can, because I want people to have confidence in wherever they purchase, that they don't have to be like, wait, what's up? Wait, what's next? What's next?
Right.
You know, that's just, that's
Gotcha.
how, and we'll work through that a little bit. And then what about, can you honor these requests?
Morning again. I can answer a lot of that. So, a little history. 15 years ago, 2011, I believe, I came in here for Boykin Lakes Phase 1. So, the zoning ordinance at the time, not just the zoning ordinance, but the ability to zone, was much different than it is today. So, one thing that has happened in that 15 years is Pike Road has seen fit very intelligently to have the state legislature give them the approval, or give you all the approval, to zone outside your municipal limits, which is, I believe, only 2, maybe 3 municipalities in the right. So this property is currently not within the city limits. So when I brought Boykin Lakes in originally as a master plan, this property was not within the municipal limits. There was no opportunity to zone it. So it's still currently not within the municipal limits. If you look throughout the development of Boykin Lakes, stubs have been made to each additional phase that was planned. So since that time, since that original master plan was brought in, which could not include this property because it was not within the municipal limits, if that was started today, it could, because this property would have been already zoned. So, no, sir. We do not own this property yet. Correct.
So you're not
Correct. So at that point in time, we didn't have the option of including this in the master plan, but it's always been working towards. The utilities are stubbed out, the roads are stubbed out. Everything has been stubbed out in preparation for this 5th and final phase. So that's a little history about why that. It is not. As this is a pre-zoning request, if the zoning if the council was to see fit to approve the zoning, then it would also be annexed. The annexation request has already been filed as well. So this is a pre-zoning request. So that's kind of the thought process as to why you couldn't show a master plan. Now, 15 years later, if you were to bring this in, it would look much differently. And that's the reason you're seeing some of the larger master plan communities now, which is what we typically do in other municipalities, didn't have that option here. If you go back and look in 2011 when I actually brought this in, it actually wasn't zoned at all. It was zoned R. It was an anomaly in the zoning ordinance that there was this chart that gave R5 and R10 and R12, and this the first 4 phases were just designated R. That was it. They did not have a secondary designation with them. So I had to sit down with staff at the time and go, how does this work? And staff essentially told me at the time, because you were one of the anomalies within the zoning, you kind of get to choose where you want to be. But at the time, we didn't really, it didn't even get rezoned. It was already zoned R, so we just started developing under the R10, kind of the R10 umbrella. Later on, when everything kind of started to come together for zoning in the town, it was requested that I just take the whole place and zone it R10. So I think that was done with Phase 3. I think the town initiated a rezoning of Phase 1 and Phase 2 to R10, and then I zoned Phase 3 and Phase 4 all at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. But that's kind of. Sure.
I appreciate it. Yeah, bear with us. I'm not saying it's easy for you guys.
No, but
It's time to clean it up.
I understand. Okay. Well, I received this request from the Vaughn Crossing residents 7-8 days ago, maybe 10 days ago, I'm not really sure. And y'all certainly put a lot of thought and time into this. We have always tried to be good neighbors with everybody that we work with. We had similar requests with whoever's north of Vaughn Crossing that backs up to phases 2 and 3 of Boykin Lakes. And I know this is not really the place for a conditional type zoning, but I'm happy to address it to make everybody feel a little better. There will be, if this moves forward, there will be another opportunity for this to be addressed and actually be held to, which is I would have to bring back in a preliminary plat at that point. But happy to address it publicly on record, and that is we've sat down, looked at the majority, or looked at this, and the majority of this we can comply with. I would, if we get to the preliminary plat and we get to that discussion, what you're going to hear from me is we can do the buffer, we can do the fence. That's not a problem. The drainage that the gentleman alluded to, we're bound to deal with that. I can't just affect someone's drainage on their property detrimentally without legal action, truthfully. So I try not to do that. But the only caveat to the entire request is the request for the R30 style lots along that western side. While I do understand the residents' request and concerns, I would like to meet in the middle with them somewhere, maybe like the R20. Because truthfully, the R30, when you put it into one of these types of subdivisions, now I'm going to have a 300-foot lot or 280-foot wide lot that's 140 feet deep. It's not really a marketable lot. Nobody wants to deal with that type of lot. So what we would respectfully ask is if we can sit down with the residents and if they would feel comfortable with, when I come through with a preliminary plat, looking at a R20 lot instead of an R30 lot.
I just appreciate your willingness to talk at that level when you're here for a zoning. I understand that that's granular and premature, but as we all are figuring out our thought processes and whether to consider this or not, it's very helpful, so thank you.
So you're saying all that's from you looking at the sheet, you're saying you have 11 lots on that.
6 or 7, something like that.
You're trying to hit around about 6 or 7 instead of the 11 or 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions, council? Well, thank you, Mr. Rice and Darrell, for answering questions. And I want to just reiterate what we've already said. I appreciate the neighbors coming in and bringing your ideas, and I appreciate particularly the way you approached this morning. Thank you. It's always good to think constructively, and that's I think lends ourselves to better conversations going forward. So I would ask Blake, if you would, to follow up with Mr. Blunt and his colleagues here, Reverend Blunt, and just try to see what y'all can communicate back to Darrell, and Darrell can then let us know how that works. And of course, you all know how to reach us, and we'd be more than happy to have conversations if we need to. This again does not have to be on the next agenda, but typically it follows up on the following agenda. We'll let y'all work with Darrell on how that proceeds.
Happy to.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. The council, thank you for your questions and your input. That concludes our new business for this morning. We do, now we move to other business. I know we have one item, I think, for discretionary item, Councilman Furman.
Yes. Last month, y'all remember, last month we had some teacher of the year things that we gave out with the school system, that sort of thing. One of our recipients was a call high school. She's an art teacher. Anyway,
I don't have this on. I apologize. Ms. McCall had presented something to us. Actually, she had presented it to Ms. Wright, the principal, and then also the staff at the central office regarding an opportunity she has with the National Arts Junior Honor Society. They're wanting to take a field trip to the Birmingham Museum of Art. If some of y'all may or may not be aware, I am, because my wife is in the art world as well. There's a Monet to Matisse exhibit in Birmingham right now that's available for viewing and tours, and Ms. McCall would like to take her group up there for this. And so there is no budget necessarily for this type of trip, but she's done some research on it and tried to figure out what it would take to bus her kids up there and get them, access to the exhibit and provide them a box lunch for that event as well. And it comes to about $1,017 to try to do what they'd like to do with the Junior Art Society. And so, they had presented it to us, and it had come to my attention that this is something they'd like to do, and wanted to see if we would donate some discretionary funds to help with this trip for their junior high school's National Honor Society field trip. So I wanted to, as a discretionary fund item, wanted to bring it to you guys in other business for discussion and consideration, and bring it before you today, and wanted to make a motion to meet this request for $1,017 for this event.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to address this, and I would just add that in our effort to learn as we go forward, they have verified this with the school. School administrators are good. They don't have a problem with this. They're excited about opportunity. And I would just say, this is a council-driven request, but I did personally have the opportunity to go by the art house a few weekends ago where Ms. McCall had some of her students who voluntarily participated in what they called an intensive art workshop. And over the course of 4, 5, 6 weeks, on Saturdays, she had a room full of students who came and worked on their own time, and she taught them. And the particular day I was there was a table, and in the middle of it was I think a tennis shoe, and every child had contributed something to this pile of items in the middle of the table, and each one was sketching from their angle what that looked like. It was fascinating, and watching her as she narrated to them all the various intricacies of what they were doing. And she just basically said, just during a school day, there's just not enough time for them to get to this level of creativity. So kudos to her. It's easy to see why she won Teacher of the Year. I'm sure we have a school board member here. I'm sure we have 4 buildings full of great teachers doing that too, so I'm not trying to separate one from the other, but it was really cool to see that. So just allow myself a little moment of diversion there to brag on them. That was really cool, and parents and kids for taking a Saturday to do that. You have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor of this discretionary item to be approved, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. So ordered. Thank you, Councilman, for bringing that forward. All right, that concludes all of our other business. I know Councilman Steindorf has one item also in other business and that we might want to discuss.
Right. As you know, every year we approach the appointment of a new school board member. Every year somebody rotates off, and so that's something that we do every year. And so that appointment is upon us now. We like to do this before April because they do the training the next month, and there's a lot of things going on with the school now that this needs to be addressed sooner than later. So yesterday an email was forwarded to everybody. I assume everybody got that email that the current school board president has another term. Okay, he's just completed his first term. He's got another term left, and so his desire is to be considered for another term. Okay, and that was forwarded to y'all yesterday. And I think to discuss this, we would like to have an executive session, if we could.
Counselor?
As you know, that when we discuss Board of Education applicants, we generally go into executive session because the good name and characters is discussed within that, and that's what the law sets aside. The Alabama Open Meetings Act discourages executive sessions except in certain cases, and this is one of those cases. So I would encourage you to pass a motion to go into executive session, adjourning and returning in.
Yeah, we would recess for that and return in, say, 20 minutes?
Yeah, 15
to 20 minutes. I think we have to set a time, so let's just say 15 minutes from now, which
roll call vote,
which would be 8:33, give or take, 8:35. How about that? That sound good? If you want to do that. But that requires a roll call vote. So you've heard the recommendation from the attorney to move forward in that regard. Seeing that, we'll ask, are you in favor? Yes? Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. All right. We will take a brief recess, give around 15 minutes, be back in 8:35. We'll see you shortly. All right. We will end our recess, come back, bring our meeting back to order. We're going to call Mr. Rice up. No. I'm kidding. I just couldn't believe you were still here when I walked around that corner. No. Hey, just a little levity. No, we're back. The business is back in order. Council, any other business for the day?
I'd like to make a motion, Mayor, that we reappoint Ethan Taylor to the school board as a reappointment.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, which is within the order of the business of the council to do that. Under other business, you have a motion you've heard to appoint Ethan Taylor for another term on the Pike Road School Board. Is there, and you had a second, motion by Councilman Bratcher, second by Councilman Steindorf. As chairman of the committee, any comments you want to make now that we have a motion?
Well, this is a little bit of an unusual, it seems like every time we do this, there's a little bit of a different take and a requirement and need in the whole process. But we always want to stick to the process, and the process does allow us to do this. And there are a couple of things, the dynamics of the board and what's going on with the school right now with the search for a new superintendent. We need to maintain continuity, and so I think in support of the motion, I think it's the right thing to do.
Okay, you've heard the comment from the chairman of the committee. Any further items? See none. You said it's roll call vote, Mr. Counselor, roll call vote. All right, so you've heard the motion. There's a motion on the table. We shall proceed to vote. Councilor Wiley? Yes.
Yes.
Steindorf? Yes, yes, and yes. All right, it's a unanimous vote to support that motion and reappoint Mr. Taylor to that role. Any other business, Council? Motion to adjourn by Councilor Bratcher, second by Councilman Furman. Any further discussion? Thank you all for a very busy morning meeting. Good job, everybody. All right. All in favor of adjourn, say aye. Opposed, like sign. Public comment. Mr. Payne.
I'll make this very fast. I know everybody wants to get out of here. For Council Lady Bratcher, is there a plan for the new fire station yet? Since I saw that they're going to start the process?
Yes, that's a great question. So it is out to bid. I think in the next 15 to 20 days, there'll be a big announcement about that. Yeah. I think you'll see
a chance to see the plan.
Yes, it is available at Station 1 at Wallahatchie. If you'd like me to have the chief to call you, he can set up a time, or you can actually probably just drop in. But if you go in the workroom, it's all over the wall.
Super. Thank you.
There's a sketch in my office.
Yeah.
You want to go look in my office? They brought me a copy of the exterior.
I know you're already aware of it, but the Art Center is going to need a bridge from the parking lot at the
working on it
building over there. May 7th is our 5x7 event, usually one of our biggest. So need something, because right now it's a muddy mess.
Working on it.
And on the art intensive workshop that you attended, Mayor, just so for the council, all of the primary art council members that have art degrees or art education work, like my brother-in-law who did like 30 years at Disney, helped teach the students. It showed that they need a lot more than 45 minutes in the classroom to become very familiar with stuff. And at one point, you guys many years ago, had a realtor meeting to explain the direction of the town and all that stuff, listening to the folks about the upcoming zone, Phase 5, that may be something to think about, once again, to educate the realtors in the area, or at least the owners of the companies, so that they don't misrepresent what they're trying to sell.
I met with the Realtors Association and their whole group within the last month.
Oh, you didn't tell us.
I did.
I know.
I met with them, had a great meeting.
And the quilters are in the Art Center Saturday. They got a big thing going on. So come on by. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Have a great day, everybody.